Hello everyone and welcome to Retail Archaeology. In this episode we'll be taking a look at Forever 21. And we'll take a look at two locations. This first one is at Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall. I did a video back in 2019 covering the history of Forever 21 and also talking about their impending bankruptcy. Forever 21 did end up filing for bankruptcy in 2019, a few weeks after I did that video. I figured now would be a good time for an update video on Forever 21 because on March 17th, 2025, they filed for bankruptcy a second time, and this time they will be closing all of their locations in the United States. Looks like even a store in a fancy mall like Scottsdale Fashion Square isn't immune from people leaving their garbage around. Or just leaving stuff on the floor in general. Although this still does look a lot nicer than the Forever 21 store that I covered in my first video. That location's no longer open. It was closed during the round of store closures after the first bankruptcy in 2019. After that first bankruptcy, Forever 21 was purchased in 2020 by a group of three investors: Simon Property Group, Brookfield Properties, and Authentic Brands Group. Simon Property Group and Brookfield Properties were motivated to try and save Forever 21 because there are a lot of Forever 21 stores located in their malls. Unfortunately for everybody involved, the pandemic happened shortly after that, and that really caused a lot of problems for malls for a few years, and it definitely did not help Forever 21. Another thing that's really hurt Forever 21 is competition, specifically on the internet. I often say that it's a lazy statement to say that Amazon and the internet has killed retail when it's really a lot of factors that have contributed to it. But for Forever 21 specifically, it really is internet competition that's hurting them, specifically from places like Shein and Temu. It seems like those two online retailers really have conquered the fast fashion retail segment. Fast fashion is stuff that is produced as cheaply as possible and sold for the lowest price possible. Temu and Shein don't have the added overhead of running brick and mortar retail locations and having retail employees, so I can see how it's become pretty much impossible at this point for Forever 21 to compete with them. And they've said as much in their bankruptcy filing. Fast fashion is pretty much a garbage industry in that they produce a lot of actual garbage that fills landfills, so less fast fashion retailers is probably better for the environment in general. But I also recognize that Forever 21 holds a lot of nostalgia for a lot of millennials, and I thought it was important to document what their stores look like one last time before they're gone forever. There's things like the sparkly checker print floor that are just quintessentially Forever 21, along with the framed accessory sections. The footage of this store is from a few weeks before the actual bankruptcy filing. The footage of the next location we take a look at is from one day before the bankruptcy filing. But before we check out that second location, I did want to take a little bit of a look at Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall, just because I don't make it out here very often. And I wanted to show that even though the Forever 21 at this mall is closing, this is not by any means a dead mall. The footage you're looking at here is from just a few hours before closing on a Sunday, and the mall is still pretty lively. It is also a pretty cool mall just to look at. This part here that's 3 floors is one of the areas that hasn't been remodeled yet, so it still has the brass railings, which I love. And there's also a lot of skylights in this mall. It does seem like this mall is constantly in a state of being remodeled. It has several wings, and it seems like once they finish remodeling one, they move on to the next one, and then everything just kind of loops again with the remodeling. You can tell this is a remodeled area because the brass railings are gone. Now let's go take a look at our second Forever 21 location. The second Forever 21 location we'll be taking a look at is at Santan Village in Gilbert, Arizona. And this mall has a lot of water features that we'll take a look at the end of the video. But first, let's go ahead and head into the Forever 21. A few weeks before the bankruptcy filing, Forever 21 had announced that they would be closing several stores, and they put out a store closure list, and this location was not on that original store closure list. So I was surprised to find store closing signs all over, and then I realized that a bankruptcy must be inevitable if this location is now closing, but it wasn't on the original closure list. And then they ended up filing for bankruptcy a day after I was here. This location was also featured in my video back in 2019, and back then when I visited this store, it looked very similar to this, but it was really dirty. There was a lot of dust all over fixtures and there were cobwebs all over the place, but during this visit I noticed that they had cleaned things up quite a bit. Even though all of the Forever 21 stores are closing, that doesn't mean that the name will go away forever. During the bankruptcy proceedings, the owners are still seeking buyers for Forever 21, so it is possible that somebody could swoop in the last minute and purchase Forever 21 and save some of the stores. Something similar happened with Big Lots recently, where all of the Big Lot stores were closing, but a buyer did swoop in at the last minute and plans to keep some Big Lot stores open. Something similar also happened with Charlotte Russe, another fashion retailer. They had closed all of their locations, and then somebody purchased Charlotte Russe, and within less than a year, Charlotte Russe stores were popping up again. If nobody does purchase Forever 21, the current owners have also indicated that they may use the intellectual property to start up an online retail business to compete with Shein and Temu. Personally, I think that's the more likely scenario. It will be interesting to see how malls fill the new empty space from Forever 21 stores closing. Forever 21 stores aren't huge, like they're not anchor-sized stores usually, but they're not small either. And the last thing malls need right now is more empty spaces. If you want to check out Forever 21 before they all close, you don't have much time left. Forever 21 plans to have all of their brick and mortar stores closed by May 1st, and some of them will actually be closed by April 1st. I'm guessing those are some of the stores that started closing sales a few weeks before the bankruptcy. Personally, I don't have a lot of nostalgia for Forever 21, and I think, like I mentioned earlier, it's probably for the best that a lot of this fast fashion stuff goes away, but I have felt that their stores always have kind of had their own character, and I think it is worth capturing because once these Forever 21 stores are gone, I don't think they'll really be stores like this ever again. Although it would be ironic in a few years if Shein and Temu stores started popping up in malls. I don't think that'll ever happen though. I also think that people are starting to realize, with the economy being so uncertain and weird, that it is more cost effective to spend a few extra dollars on a piece of clothing rather than buy something cheap that's not going to survive more than 2 trips through a washing machine. What are your thoughts on Forever 21 though? Is it a store that you shopped at regularly, or maybe you shopped at in the past when you were younger? And also, what are your thoughts on fast fashion? Personally, I think it's an industry that needs to go away. That being said, it is still sad to watch a 41-year-old mall retailer whose stores actually had some character disappear forever. I'm not the target audience for Forever 21 stores, but one good thing I can say about them is, unlike a lot of other retailers, they haven't succumbed to making everything just boring and beige. But that's going to wrap up this final look at Forever 21 stores, but before we wrap up the video, let's head on out of this location and we'll take a look at the fountains and water features that are just right outside. Right outside the Forever 21 we just took a look at, there is a set of water features. For example, this running little raised canal thing with little fountains, and then there's also a big fountain here in the center. If you've watched the channel long enough, you know that I'm a big fan of fountains. And I really like the tile mosaic work inside the large fountain here, although you can see that some of the tile is starting to crack and fall off. And here's a look inside one of the little raised canal things. A lot of the videos on my channel can get kind of depressing since they cover subjects like retailers closing forever, so I thought it would be interesting for this one to try and wrap it up with something a little bit more calming and soothing. I've also always wanted to get footage of these water features because you can see that they're starting to show their age, and a lot of times malls have a habit of just getting rid of fountains rather than repairing them. This is where we'll wrap up the video though. As always everyone, thanks for watching. Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/retailarchaeology to find out how you can help support the channel. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my update video on Forever 21. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and also make sure to follow at the social media links down there because that's the best way to keep up with what's going on with the Retail Archaeology channel.